The world is burning down. Can't you smell the smoke in the air? War, disease, and famine, this demon, she's everywhere. Poets and preachers and politicians, they've all had their say. And we've got 10,000 years devoted to nothing but tomorrow and yesterday. 10,000 years. Whoa. If all of the ignorance in the world passed a second ago, what would you say? And who would you obey now? I am here to say that peace is now. Peace is now. Peace is now. Peace is now. Welcome to another episode of the apocalypse. Since you have chosen the apocalypse, you are in urgent need of a guide. I am that guide, your humble guide, Nicholas, also known in the nether realms as Death. Well, it seems the Beast and BB really want the Palestinians gone for good, huh? Donnie even said, as he gave the entire game away, that it could be like the Riviera of the Middle East. You see, Donnie is pining for the days when he was king of Atlantic City and he could launder money with impunity as king of the city. Well, he bankrupted even those money laundering operations till his name was erased from the city. I wonder what he'll do to the United States and Gaza. For even Donnie's shitbags, or shall I say, Donnie's shitbags can even bankrupt a casino where the house always wins. Where if someone owes you $3 million for some nefarious activity, well, they just place it on red, and magically black comes up, and the $3 million is gone, and the millionaire walks out, oh well, I've lost $3 million. I think I'll go back to my mansion now. Donnie even managed to bankrupt that son. What do you think he will do to your country? Rubes? Yes, what do you think he'll do? Well, I know what he'll do. And that Israel thing, that's real important. Donnie made some bold statements about that, but I'll get to that. Let's start with this. Trump's D.C. U.S. attorney says that any threats, confrontations, or other actions in any way that impacts what Elon Musk's people are doing will be investigated by his office, since that may break numerous laws. In other words, all the various heads of all the various agencies, Just let Leon and his band of wenches, 6 wenches to be exact, let them just perform the coup or execute the coup, if you will. Don't resist. Just let it happen. Otherwise, we'll arrest you. That's what the DOJ, or excuse me, the DC U.S. Attorney said. Not dystopian at all, right, guys? In other words, let the coup just happen. It's MAGA time now. And guess what happens in MAGA time and in MAGA world? You get grifted, son. You get looted. Just ask Mr. Bannon, who just fresh out the pen, and Mr. Colfage. What happens in MAGA world when you people trust these fools? And my God, you're such marks. A quadriplegic or paraplegic and Steve Bannon all of a sudden jumped on the scene once you Rube sent enough money in. Did you notice that no real names were attached to it, that build the wall thing, until you Rubes sent in enough money? And then the real top level grifters like Bannon said, oh yeah, we can just take a salary from that foundation, and all that money that Colfage promised would be used for a wall. And that's just one scam out of a million that you people have fallen for. That's why all the grifters have come out the woodwork, because they see what easy marks you are. That's simple. And my God, have they made millions, billions off of you fools, when the end game was just hand your country over to Vlad and China and anyone else willing to pay for all that information we're collecting. You know, Leon and his band of 6 wenches. It's great cover to say we need access to every piece of classified information, all of our socials, all of our information for looking for ways to make government more efficient or save money. That's a great cover for just taking all of our vital information about us, about our government, CIA, FBI, all of our secrets, gather it all up and give it right to our enemies. That's what they're fucking doing. And the let's save money shit is just a cover for that activity. Also, the reason they're offering buyouts to every single government employee, CIA, FBI, every single one, they want to purge anyone that's even the most remote, even the slightest bit disloyal or even has the potential of it. And they want to start from scratch with straight up loyalists. You don't have to be qualified. Do you know what a nightmare that is? Once they get sycophants in all the positions, then it's really over, man. Then we really in danger. And that's the end game. As many sycophants as possible in every agency, at every level, not just at the top. That's why they're offering everyone a buyout. Fucking serious, man. And I would just assume all of our personal information, Vlad now has it and G now has it. I would just operate under that assumption personally. And that's not drama, son. That's dead fucking serious. That's what's going on as everyone goes about their day to and fro from work. Mexico and Wall Street just cucked Trump. Okay, what does that mean by Rick Wilson, which is a brilliant statement and observation, and it reflects reality? Well, that means, remember, Donnie imposed tariffs on Canada, our closest ally, Mexico, another ally, great trading partner. Both ways, we get to sell all kinds of guns to them. So what happened? Donnie put tariffs. He acted like a tough guy because they just want to increase this slush fund called a sovereign wealth fund like the Saudis have, which I'll explain what the first big purchase is going to be soon when I get to it here. So Mexico and Canada did targeted tariffs right towards the rubes. And it started to crash the market. And the only reason it worked is because Canada and Mexico got together and made sure this hurt in the right ways. And we need them more than they need us because we're New Rome. We're the largest empire, most greedy empire, fattest empire that ever was. So we can't survive on our own. We can't sustain the population and the level of life we're used to or lifestyle. Not even close. We have to import things from places like Canada and Mexico, our best trading partners right across our borders. So what happened? That would have crashed our economy, would have caused all kind of problems. So some people called Donnie up and said, listen, Donnie, now you fucking with our money. We realize you got a grift going. You want these tariffs and you just want to become, a multi-trillionaire. We get the grift, son. But let us tell you something right now. If you continue to fuck with our money, you're going to have a problem and you won't be Antichrist king anymore. We will get rid of you. That's what they said to him. That's why he backed down. And that's why Canada and Mexico won this little fight for a while. Because they teamed up and targeted the tariffs. In other words, people are starting to realize what they're dealing with and taking extraordinary measures. And I'm surprised the beast and his prophet and the dragon are backing down right now. But believe me, there's certain parts of the plan that are integral. There's certain parts that aren't. The tariffs are not necessary. Donnie's been paid a tribute by all the oligarchs of the world and countries, etc. He's got plenty of money coming in every day, all day. He doesn't even need the tariffs. So that's not integral, except for driving businesses to Russia and China. That goal is on hold. But again, that's not integral to Donnie either, the ultimate plan. What is integral is that Israel stuff. He really needs that to happen. I've explained why. I won't go into it right now at this moment, maybe later. He really needs the Israel thing to happen. That's why he came up with such a wild plan that no one's ever dared speak out loud before. And yes, there's some blowback, but not nowhere near the kind of blowback there would usually be if this wasn't the apocalypse. And that's not drama either, unfortunately. So I assume Donnie will get that deal done, that Middle East thing, and they'll have that celebration day that Donnie wants, that Middle East celebration. Once the deal with Iran's done, the deal with Israel and Palestinians are done. And Donnie hasn't ruled out using the military either. I'll get to that too. And I told you he'd be willing to use the military. They don't have a lot of time. They're going to get tired of the red tape. They're going to get tired of countries saying no, judges saying no. And they're just going to make big moves out of desperation because their time's running short. That's why the chaos per day, the amount of things. You notice they're in a big fucking hurry, right? There's a reason for that. So yes, Mexico and Canada won this battle for now, the tariff battle, by targeting and planning a response together. And that's what's going to happen more and more against the United States as this crazy beast does crazy things. More allies are going to turn, especially when we're threatening to annex Greenland, Canada, Mexico, Panama Canal, and Gaza now. What other president has ever talked like this? What other world leader has ever talked like this except for Adolf Hitler, threatening all his neighbors? Until he finally blitzkrieged them all and took Europe in a very short amount of time. He was in Africa, tried to take Russia. Guess where? What would have been next? The United States, of course. That's the big prize that Hitler would have went after. That's some real money there that Hitler could have stole. Anyway, must groom these kids. Yes, again, the names, the six wenches. Akash Baba, Luke Farritor, Ethan Shoutran, Edward Karstein. This is four of them. There's really six that I've seen. And again, if these young men want to gather my personal information and yours, all of ours, and classified stuff and all kind of things they have no fucking business seeing, then we can gather lists on that. We can gather their information, right? Right, adjudicated criminal? That's fair, wouldn't you say? Because all of you executives in this company where I'm broadcasting right now, these kids have your fucking info. All of it. Leon has your info. All of it. How do you fucking feel about that? I ain't too comfortable with it. And I don't have millions of dollars for him to steal. So maybe you should be worried, but I tried to warn you before all this happened, and I know some of you heard me. Because everybody likes to watch what Nikki says, boy. Unfortunately, they were always trying to use it to shut me down. Now they need me more than ever, and they're going to need me more and more as this goes by, as this plays out. Even you people, I already know some of you are listening because you're scared. That's simple. And more scared people will come here in time if certain entities allow it. But I have a feeling things are going to last. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. Because if things last, that means something. And I can't tell you what that means now. At some point, maybe I will. Or maybe you'll see it. Or maybe I'll realize it. Right now, I hope it's not true because it's not necessarily a good thing for me. But if this is allowed to play out, my part in it, unencumbered, that means something. But I can't share that with you yet. I will eventually. So again, these 4 children, but they're actually adults, so that's 2 of them. These are the young sociopaths with the same look that Leon has in his eyes. They all want to be him. He might as well be a cult leader, and they his cultists. Well, that's literally what they are. Kind of like that Luigi guy. He wanted to have his own startup. He did. And he was trying to be the next Leon scum. So are these people. Never forget who they are. They're dismantling your country with glee. I saw a post today about Luke Farritor specifically. It's really hard not to like Luke. And they put some cute video that Luke had done in the past. I left a comment, and so did a lot of other people. You'd be surprised the sentiment towards 20-somethings dismantling a whole country. You'd be surprised the sentiment that people would have toward them. And they're all finding that out. And Leon couldn't suppress the information. So many people put it out so fast. And again, they're going to get tired of that as well, especially Leon. Leon wants total control. He's that kind of person. So there's going to be heavy fucking censorship. And one of the first people that put these pictures and info out or put the list of names was suspended for a minute. It might still be suspended now. I don't know. And we'll get to that. But we're going to be seeing these faces more and more. And I want to discuss them more and more. Again, fair's fair, right, people? They have all your information. They have all mine. They have all the government employees. They have classified information that me and you don't have access to. Yet these fucking idiots have it. Again, it's a coup, son. You're being looted. You're being dismantled. The info is going to your enemies. It's fucking over, this country. The second You allowed that orange sociopath and his fucking pasty-ass South African beluga whale to take control of your fucking country. All of you fucking people knew he was Vlad's bitch too. But Vlad's bitch had an R next to it. A traitor to our nation, worse than Benedict Arnold. And because I had an R, because you had to own the libs, that has cost you your country, son. It's going to cost you so much more as well. If you just would have went the other way. Anyway, this is what we got thanks to you rubes. This is the type of shit we're going to see. More theater, more fucking bullshit ass right-wing theater. That's all you people are interested in. That's why you handed over your country to a reality TV star who bankrupted casinos and been laundering his money his entire fucking life. Oh, and the richest man in the world. You people that are all against the elites and the oligarchy and all that shit. Globalist, New World Order. You're against all that. Right? This shit. What's the circus in town? She a rodeo clown or something? This is real helpful, right, guys? Photo ops at the border of some pseudo pretty woman in Magaland on a horse in a crazy outfit as if she's doing anything with some stank ass extensions on. Puppy killer who boasted of it in her book. Talked about shooting Biden's dog, too. To catch Donnie's eye, she's rewarded with a position she is utterly unqualified for. Why? Because she's a sycophant, replete with evil. That's what Donnie likes. He's looking for people just like that. You know what it reminds me of? The kind of people that Donnie looks for? The kind of person a certain rock star's wife looked for. And funny, he's from South Africa too. Can you believe it? Both of these situations that are totally not connected. Both have a South African white guy right at the center of it. Isn't that fascinating? I didn't know that when I started this. I didn't know Leon was going to be a co-president. I didn't know Leon was a Trojan horse sent by Russia and China and the Saudis to ruin our country. Because just as everyone does business with us and takes our fucking money, especially the Saudis, they'd love to see us go down and see your children starving, every single one of those countries I just named. That's not drama either, son. That's what you handed your country over to. I wouldn't be surprised how many of those secrets that Leon and his band of wenches are digging up have gone to the Saudi royal family. So yeah, we're going to get more Kristi Noem. And what is it with the MAGA bitches? All these that you geriatrics think are so hot. Ain't none of them got no body. They've all got breast implants. What's up with that? None of them are actually like pretty when you really look at their face. Not a damn one. Not Bobo, not Margie, not Noam, not Mace, not Haba. What the fuck is wrong with you people? I don't know. I like pretty women. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. The fuck is wrong with you, geriatric? I guess you can't see so good. So you see like a shape and you see a facade of youth and 18 pounds of makeup and all that. And you can't see so good because you're like 74. And damn, Bobo hot. No, Bobo has no hips, no ass, and breast implants. And when she takes the makeup off, she looks like an inbred Eskimo or something. I'm serious. I've seen the pictures. And she's, you know, burning hot in Magaland. The ex-prostitute. Kimmy Guilfoyle, what the fuck's happened to her, boy? Anyway, let me get. I'm being mean now. I mean, Noam and people like her are only talking about, locking women and children up in Guantanamo as well. So, but me talking about their looks is a bridge too far, right? Her comments in support of the concentration camp, that's not a bridge too far. You can see that on Good Morning America, MSNBC, CNN, all the major family shows. But me talking about her looks, right, that's a bridge too far, right, people? Fuck off. If you even remotely gonna throw that at me. Here's a list of techies on the ground helping Musk gaining and using access to the U.S. Treasury payment system. Again, the names, I just happen to have this shot here. Akash Baba, Edward Korstein, Luke Farritor, Gautier Cole Killian, Gavin Kleiger, Ethan Choutran. Looks like there's more names there, but there's a show more. I can't look at that right now. I want Elon Musk arrested for breaching my Social Security and bank data. Yeah. Yeah. Why is a South African oligarch who's technically an illegal alien himself, why does he have my social? I want to talk about AI real quick for a second, since Leon's all about that. Do you remember back in the day when I first jumped on social media, before you people ever knew who the fuck I was? I went on Facebook first because I'd never been on social media. I was testing it out, seeing what I could say, not say, seeing how people interact, the whole thing. I was learning the whole thing. Do you remember there was this little cute little program you could put your name or screen name or whatever email into, and it would give you a breakdown of who you are, basically. It would give you a description of you. Well, I noticed everyone was doing it, and it would develop a little poem about you, of maybe 4 lines or more. I can't remember. And it would say, let's say you're a person that's into art and film and nature, okay? When you put your info in, it would say, Nick likes art and movies and nature, and he seeks that out on the internet. It would say something like that. Well, I watched person after person do this, and I felt kind of weird about it. But then eventually I did it too, because I was new to the internet. I really didn't go on social media at all before that, years ago. So I put my information in, and it comes back with something like this. Nick likes to play games on the internet. And it said a few other things I can't remember. Now, you could take that 2 ways. Nick likes to play video games, online games, actual games on the, like Monopoly or something on the internet. Or Nick likes to fuck with people on the internet. At the time, that's what I was doing. Not in a nasty or evil way, but I'm good at arguing. I'm good at talking shit, and people pop shit on the internet. So I'm like, all right, and I'd get in, debates and long back and forths, and people would just get so fucking upset, just like so many of you did. And they just gots to get revenge. Anyway, my point is, I digress. My point is, that was AI back in the day. I gave it my information. The AI did a scan of the internet, tracked every fucking thing I did in like 5 seconds, and came up with an assessment of me. I didn't realize it then. Maybe you didn't either. But we were guinea pigs for AI. We've been this whole time. And people thought it was cute. I put my email. Look what it said about. That's AI, motherfucker. We were training it. That was the beginnings of it, unleashing it on us. Now they're at the point where they can send a literal bot out in their image with their values. And we're still training AI with everything we do online. They even ask you for your permission now to be part of training the AI. But all the way back then, and this was fucking years ago, when everybody thought it was a cute little game, and they'd put their info in and they'd get their little fortune back or whatever. That was AI. They were training it how to scan the internet and track everything a person does in seconds. And that's what it fucking did. And it came up with an assessment of me. That was spot on, actually, at the time. I didn't have any serious endeavor or interest going on. I wasn't broadcasting. I wasn't trying to draw attention to myself. I was just interacting with people. But we were training the AI. That was AI back then, what we were doing, what we were all doing, as we laughed about it. Rubio says he's acting director of U.S. Agency for International Development. Well, that U.S. aid agency, Leon and Donnie been all about messing that up and getting the info and getting the money. So they put Rubio on it. Total loyalist, sycophant, spineless scumbag. They really want to dismantle that agency, and they're putting their full weight into it. I wonder what the real reason is. This is normally for a country to invest their budget surpluses, since we don't have one and won't have one anytime soon. Unclear whose money is going into this and where it will be going. We are going to borrow more money to invest in it. Trump signs an executive order calling for the creation of a sovereign wealth fund, just like the Saudis have. Yeah, whose money is going to go into. Do you notice the vagaries we get from Donnie's administration? We never really get a lot of details with these scams. All of a sudden, Donnie comes along, we're going to create a sovereign wealth fund just like the Saudis have, so that he can just spend any way he wants, right? He doesn't need Congress. Can fund anything. One of the first things he's going to do, and I was wondering what the first part of the grift would be with that sovereign wealth fund. Well, he's going to use it to buy 50% of TikTok. And Rubes, I don't know if you know this, when a government buys 50% of a company, that's a socialist principle. Businesses in America, even though it's not an American business, are supposed to be private businesses. They're not supposed to be part government owned, even though a lot of them are, because they would have went bankrupt otherwise. But that's a socialist principle. Now the taxpayer is bailing you out. You're taking a handout, welfare. And I don't believe you all paid it back. I'm sorry. Don't believe you. Don't care if you show me a piece of paper with some numbers. That don't show me shit. So they take welfare, and now the United States has a stake in the business. That is straight up socialism. You know, the thing you guys all hate. Except when you're about to get laid off because your plant's about to close because the government doesn't care, right? Then you get mad, right? Because you don't believe in anything. I know. So yes, sovereign wealth fund, first part of the grift is to buy half of TikTok. That way Leon can run Twitter. He's already ruined that, turned it into a propaganda 4chan with 3 Democrats. Now he'll be handling half of TikTok, and he'll basically be running it, I assume. That Chinese gentleman with his head up, looking so proud, he'll be demoted to second in command, I'm sure. And he won't be looking so proud anymore once Leon gets 50%. The executive order creating Doge specifically said unclassified systems only. And here's a person saying, why does Doge need access to classified material? And who is reading them into these programs? That's a great question. And we have no idea because all we get is vagaries. And no one does a damn thing. Oh, he's creating a slush fund that no president has ever done before. Okay, we'll just, let it slide. Oh, Leon and the bitches are looking at classified material that we citizens can't even see? Motherfuckers straight out of high school? Really? Yeah, that doesn't sound like a recipe for disaster at all, right? So yeah, when they said, "Oh, we're only going to look at non-classified stuff." No, that's not what's happening. Because the real money's in the classified stuff, of course, and all of our personal information. My God, what that's worth. To any enemy of ours, anyone. Businesses. Leon's been coveting that list since he was born. So yeah, I would assume I would operate under the assumption they're looking at classified. They're looking at everything. Who's going to stop them? No one. There's no one left. That's what I've been saying since he won. And I saw who the nominees were and all that. I knew this time they weren't going to leave any guardrails. And they're taking it as far, again, as offering every motherfucking government employee except the brown shirts, ICE, buyouts. They need the brown shirts, though. They got to keep them. That's how far they're taking it. Because they want the money from those agencies that they can steal. And they're still going to need some people in those agencies. And every single one of them will be a pass the loyalty test sycophant. We're seeing that right now. This guy now has your social security number. Remember this? Remember when Leon started wearing the fancy MAGA hats, the different colored ones that no one else had, the special ones? Because Leon's a special boy. Remember that Grima Wormtongue look that he gave Donnie as he shook his hand on stage? That's the guy that has all your personal information now. It's great, right, Rubes? Tried to warn you before it happened, but you thought you were the wise one. Everyone thinks they are the wise one until that fire hits their ass. Leon says he and Trump are shutting down USAID. Yes, that's the goal, obviously, and get everyone out except for sycophants, or just shut it down completely. Here's Senator Chris Van Hollen. We were just denied entry to USAID. We're done fighting back. Tune in as we discuss the next steps. Well, I expect all the Democrats to be arrested one day. And Hegseth ain't going to say no. Because again, they're going to get tired of the red tape, just like Hitler did. He's like, fuck this. I'm just going to lock them all up. Every socialist, communist. I love the right wingers, though. And they love me. Okay, Donnie says Trump on what Trudeau could offer him to change his mind on tariffs. What I'd like to see, Canada become our 51st state. Yes, he's got to fulfill that Nazi map from, I don't know, the 30s or whatever. Canada, Mexico, Central America, and the very top portion of South America, Greenland. And now he wants Gaza too, because, resorts have to be built. Hey, they said they were going to do that. They said there's some great land there over in Israel and Palestine. Man, the resorts we could build there. Jared said literally that, same type of thing. I'm just paraphrasing a little bit. And Donnie's giving the game away. It could be like the Riviera. Well, that gives the game away that Donnie and the boys, and BB, they want to develop it and make millions. And that the leveling of Gaza, maybe that was intentional to get this going. So Donnie would still like Canada. And this is a man from Canada. LOL, delusional, more likely. After America's Civil War, Canada will absorb 8 to 9 states. Then we'll build a wall around what's left. We'll call it Jesus Land. Great joke. Makes a lot of sense. Reflects reality quite well. A statement from U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, Edward R. Martin Jr. This is a U.S. Attorney, D.C. That's whose page this is. Our initial review of the evidence presented to us indicates that certain individuals and or groups have committed acts that appear to violate the law in targeting Doge employees. Oh no, said Edward R. Martin Jr., U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia. We are in contact with FBI and other law enforcement partners to proceed rapidly. We also have our prosecutors preparing. Well, what if they all quit tomorrow? I'm the fine print in the buyout offers, guys. I would really read the fine print because Donnie is known not to pay his bills. And again, Leon, there are still Twitter employees that are suing him for their severance packages that they never got. In other words, Leon and Donnie do not pay their bills and they laugh about it. That's simple. So it'd be real hard for me as a government employee of whatever 10 years to be like, oh, I'll trust Donnie and Leon because they're not known to stiff people at all. Donnie is literally known for stiffing contractors and banks. That's why he had to go to Russian-ass Deutsche Bank. And I don't care if it's in Germany or named after a German word. It's still Russian, son. Trust me. So that's how crooked Donnie is. And Leon, again, he bragged about not paying rents once he bought Twitters. Again, richest man in the world. He likes to boast of that. But when it comes time to pay the bill, son, he doesn't. And he laughs about it. Again, we are in contact with the FBI and other law enforcement partners to proceed rapidly. We also have our prosecutors preparing. They are threatening everyone. Let the coup happen. Don't resist in the slightest, or we're going to prosecute you. This is a person named Darren J. Beatty. I've shown you some of his comments that I didn't even know about. I can't keep track of everybody, people, and everything they've said throughout the years. So Donald Trump's new State Department appointee, Ron Filipowski, says, and this is what Mr. Beatty said on 10/4/24. So last year, October. Competent white men must be in charge if you want things to work. Unfortunately, our entire national ideology is predicated on coddling the feelings of women and minorities and demoralizing competent white men. Really? That's what society's been all this time? Because I haven't seen that. You know what I have seen? The white man rules this planet. That's what I've seen. And it hasn't changed for a long time. Yes, there's been some progress in certain areas, but the same attitude literally prevails. How do I know that? Well, we've got a white nationalist Nazi literal movement going on in 2025. Why? Because it's the only way white people can stay in power. Because demographics are changing. White people are having the least amount of children. In other words, it's not going to be a white world anymore. So this is their last dying grasp, and Satan rode the wave of white nationalism yet again. Right to Caesarship with his beast. Every Nazi and white nationalist should pat themselves on the back. They are now, and they've been for a long time, the literal hand of Satan. Literally. Here's a white nationalist right here. Competent white men must be in charge. Really? Because it seems white men have made a mess of the world. Not that men of other races are any better once they get to be king. They're just as fucking greedy. But the whites have been in charge for a while. And I look around the world and you know what? I don't like what I see. I'm not seeing the wisdom in white, is what I'm trying to say. And the whole reason Donnie Shitbags was even able to be taken seriously for 1 second as a presidential candidate, you know what the answer to that is. We had a black man as president for 8 years. That has people still fucking furious to this day, to the point they handed their country over to Vlad Putin and a South African beluga whale. NG and Saudi, every enemy we have, they are foaming at the mouth and they are giddy with joy at what you rubes and you greedy at the top have given them. So yes, Mr. Darren J. Beatty doesn't hide that he's a racist, he's a Nazi, and we can see where his authority will take us, obviously. One more time, competent white men must be in charge if you want things to work. What a fucking joke that is. In 2012, when I was the U.S. ambassador to Russia, this man's name is Michael McFall. Putin shut down USAID inside Russia. Why? Because their work supported free markets, democracy, human rights, i.e. causes that threaten Putin's dictatorship. Shutting down USAID is exactly what autocrats all over the world want. Yeah, that's why it's happening. They're dismantling the place for our enemies, Russia, China, Saudis. That's literally what's happening. The tariffs were part of the reason for the tariffs. One was to enrich Donnie, and the other was to drive businesses to their allies, Leon and Donnie's allies, not our allies. And here's the USAID website at the time. I don't know if it still looks like this. I wouldn't be surprised if it did, or their page on social media, maybe that is. And this person's saying, at this rate, there won't even be a U.S. government soon. Oh, no, there won't. At the pace this is going, in a year, this country won't be recognizable at all. We'll be well into the throes of a straight-up dystopian nightmare. We already are. We have a South African oligarch and 6 little sociopaths just like him, straight out of high school, dismantling all of our computer systems, learning the protocols, learning everything that we're not even allowed to know as citizens. An illegal alien is running that. Leon. Getting all of our personal information. I take that very seriously. I hope you do as well. The people that care. Obviously, the rubes didn't care and don't care. They're probably still defending this shit. I don't know how anyone could defend a bunch of high schoolers, straight out of high school, little sociopaths, and a South African oligarch having your information. I'd love to hear the mental gymnastics a rube has to do to make that a positive thing. Believe me, son, it won't be positive, and you're going to be crying too. Trust me, mark it, put it in the bank. Public servants forced to defend their work to a recent high school graduate who up until a few weeks ago went by the online name Big Balls. That's Edward Corstein we're talking about, the poof cut guy, the one that looks like a Lex Luthor wannabe, the kind of guy that smiles as he's doing evil and dismantling our country because he's a sociopath just like Leon and could never get a date. So yes, he went by the online name Big Balls recently. That's cool with you, right? That person has access to all these computer systems, classified information, and information about you and me and government employees. My God, what have you rubes done? You could, again, if I wrote this in a fucking novel, a beluga whale shaped, pasty oligarch, obese oligarch with 6 little boys going through the most powerful nation on Earth's computer systems and stealing all of our information. If I wrote that in a novel, they'd say that's ridiculous, man. No one would ever let that happen. Yes, totally cool that a 19-year-old who called his deleted LinkedIn Big Balls, where he lists his experience working as a camp counselor, can access the entire U.S. federal payment system without anyone looking into his background. For instance, his Russian national close relatives or anything else. Again, they don't need to spy through these kids. Leon just handed them the stuff already. Don't worry, baby. Leon been a Trojan horse for Russia and other places since he got here. So again, the LinkedIn profile here, Edward Karstein. And again, he has all my info. So it's cool, right? I can share this, right? I'm sure it is. Username, Big Balls. Wow. When you see a picture of him, he looks like he has really big balls, right? No, it looks like he's hiding under an oligarch's skirt. That's what he's doing. Previous jobs, camp counselor at Camp Playland of New Canaan, system engineer at Path Network Incorporated, warehouse team member. Yeah, I'm sure the system engineer one's true. Warehouse team member at Lesser Evil Healthy Brands, assistant bike mechanic at 10538 Bicycles. Yeah, one of the jobs doesn't fit. Did you notice that? The rest of them are entry-level garbage. And then there's that system engineer one. Yeah, I don't think I'm buying that. I think that's a little exaggeration. Education, leadership, creating public value from Harvard X, high school diploma, 11th from Rye County Day School, electrical and electronics engineering from Johns Hopkins Center for Talented Youth. This person says the internet's so weird. Thanks to a name in Wired, I found the Goodreads from 10 years ago for the Doge teen intern who is grilling government technologists. Now I can tell him I too have read Captain Underpants to my son when I'm being asked to justify my entire career in 30 seconds or whatever. Yes, again, a South African oligarch who is literally douche personified. And a bunch of motherfuckers straight out of high school just dismantled the whole government, have all of our information and classified information. That should horrify even the staunchest rube, the staunchest cultist. Oh my God, what's wrong with you people? Again, you were all warned. How about the fact that a lot of you right-wingers claim to understand scripture and read the Bible and be about that religion? And you can't recognize what's before you, son? You must not have been paying attention, or you were just faking the funk. Or you just blinded yourself. You held your hand in front of your eyes and said it has an R next to it. That's all that matters to me. Despite what I read for so many years. Anyway, that's a whole nother thing. Doge has requested and is being granted access to all SBA systems per an email sent to SBA government employees today. Edward Karstein, a Doge official, held a call with SBA staff detailing level of access they wanted, including HR, contract, and payment systems. Again, this cunt is calling government agencies himself. Kid straight out of high school. This is fucking absurd. Again, people 50 years old, 40 years old, whatever, answering to some fucking sociopath dickhead straight out of high school whose most extensive experience is camp fucking counselor. But I guess for a motherfucker that likes watching Honey Boo Boo and that type of bullshit, that's just fine, right? That he has your info, your whole family's info, classified info, government employee info, making calls himself. My God, you think this is an act, son? You think I yell like this because you rubes didn't give the motherfucking country away? Wait till a year from now, son. You're going to be crying. Maybe less than that. Every damn one of you that puts your name on this. This is what you put your name on, and you were warned in advance. Look at this fucking sociopath. You don't need to be a shrink to see it, does you? That's where your children's future and all their money are going to go, to little cunts like him. Because you had to own the libs, right? How's it looking now? You owning them? No, this motherfucker owns you now. A kid straight out of high school wants to be the next Leon Scum with a poof haircut and a 2-inch neck. Edward Korstein isn't old enough to drink and has a haircut that looks like this. And he's got a cabinet secretary level access of the Small Business Association. Cabinet secretary level access of the Small Business Association. Son, did you hear me? He's the one making calls, gathering all your info. You fucking rubes. Pat yourself on the motherfucking back. In the history books, if there's even history books after this, because there probably won't be, you'll all be marked and noted that you just handed your country over to 20-year-old dickheads that laugh as they dismantle everything this country was for an obese, pasty oligarch. Because $400 billion just ain't enough for his fat ass, his cringe ass. And, you know, I don't know, the $200 billion that Donnie's been handed so far, since he's Caesar, since he's the devil's fucking prince. What a prince, devil. What a great one you've picked. Just as great as you, son. Shits his pants, leaves the house in orange face. Raging cokehead his whole fucking life, and so's his son. Other son's a fucking mongoloid. These are great princes and anointed you have chosen, son. But you just a little imp who thinks you can beat up your daddy. Unfortunately for you, Mr. Tough Guy, all you're gonna end up is lakeside, son. Yeah, you heard me. I'm calling the devil's son. And don't worry, he knows who I am. He doesn't like when I talk, and he tries to stop me all the time. The stories I could tell you. In other words, the devil afraid of Nikki and all his little bitches that run these social media sites. Since that's they daddy, they afraid of Nikki too. And the mob that sent people to kill me, they afraid of Nikki too. So afraid they dare not speak my fucking name. They would rather die than speak it. But the skanky one couldn't help herself one day. And she gave the game away. Like little girls do. So yeah, when Nikki talks, even the devil goes, damn. And that is dead motherfucking serious. That's the level of threat I am. Trump orders creation of U.S. sovereign wealth fund, says it could buy TikTok. In other words, they're going to buy TikTok with that slush money. The bribe money. Tariff money, wherever he can get it from. While you work up justifiable outrage over the worst of USAID's silly foreign grants, don't forget to ignore the tens of billions of U.S. taxpayer dollars that Musk's companies and customers continue to receive annually. Yes, all the welfare that Leon gets. When you see an ad in the fucking paper and it says $7,500 tax incentive to buy a Tesla, guess who's paying for that? You is, son, with your tax money. That's welfare for Leon. You know, the guy that's dismantling your government right now and has your tax info, your social, your wife's name, your child's name. That fucking guy. Yeah, you've given him a ton of welfare. And he took it happily, and he's still going to take more. And he just betrayed all of you. And America, who made him rich. And that wasn't Republicans that made him rich, son. That was liberals that made him rich. So who does he betray? Well, the liberals. And who will probably get locked up in the future, just like back in Hitler's day. Oh, the liberals. The socialists. The communists. The vulnerable. The dissidents. The journalists. This, Tim Pool. Once in a while when I go on YouTube, I get an ad like this right at the very top of my home screen. That's Timmy, who's been described as, I don't know, a high school dropout. Not very articulate, not very smart. So, my point in showing you this is, remember all those months ago before the election and when I was talking about suing people and all that? And I brought up the fact that every single website allows paid Russian shills to operate. And they know what's going on. And it's because Vlad buys ads. So they've allowed this right-wing grift/terror machine for a few decades now to operate Vlad's propaganda to ruin our country, to stabilize our nation, which worked like a charm because 40% of this nation is abject rubes, unfortunately for us. So even after it was exposed and Nikki was proven right again, even before he had the evidence, he was saying it. even after they're exposed as abject shills for Russia, paid. Timmy Pool is still promoted right at the top of my screen. I guess Nikki wasn't disgruntled. I guess Nikki wasn't lying. I guess it must be true. And not just Timmy, almost all of them are still broadcasting. And Vlad's still buying ads. And Tim still has some of that Vlad money. He's probably buying ads. What's sad is that any of you people take these people seriously after they were proven shills for Russia. Fascinating. So I guess in closing on this one, I said it in advance before I had the evidence. Then the evidence came out. And then they really proved me right when they continued to platform these people, basically saying, yeah, Nick, what you're saying is true. Vlad gives us money through this oligarch, that way, this shady business, whatever. It finds its way to us. So we allow his people to destabilize your nation. And then we shut people like you down that are actually telling the truth. Yeah, Nick, that's what's going on. I said, Donnie gonna be knocking on everybody's door for tribute. I said, don't vote for him. I said that specifically to the oligarchy. What did they do? They voted for him. What did they end up having to do? Show up one by one and hand $1 million over. Do you know what an oligarch hates most of all? Spending money. Handing it over. They hate that. But they did it. And Donnie going to be back for more and more and more and more and more because it's a beast. I said this before the election. Look how many have paid tribute. Some, like Bezos, even bought a shitty Melania documentary so he could throw another $40 million in the pot. So yes, actual paid shill for Russia, still platformed and promoted. No strikes, no removals, no suspensions of channel, so he loses 80% of his audience and his revenue. And they always targeted the money, remember that? Always. Every stalker, every mongoloid, every jerk-off, every gypsy, every mobster, every company, every press outlet that we got involved with, all of them targeted the money. They wouldn't have liked it, though, if someone targeted their money, would they? Of course not. Okay to do to Nikki, though. Okay to shut Nikki down repeatedly and keep this fucking traitor who spreads lies and propaganda up. Not only keep him on the platform, promote him at the top of the screen. So Nikki wasn't just a little right. He was dead on, balls accurate. And again, that's before I had the evidence. Greenland's parliament is to fast track a new rule. If only America had done this. If only our politicians had cared. If only our corporations had cared. Foreign citizens will no longer be able to buy property in Greenland. This has just been decided by the Greenlandic government. The tightening of legislation is due to the increasing geopolitical interest to Greenland. Only persons with Danish citizenship, Greenlandic citizenship, or people who have lived and paid taxes in Greenland for at least 2 years will be allowed to buy property. If only America had done that. Now, the 2-year part, they would just take some citizen and give him the money to make the purchase or something. It'd be some crazy shit. They'd get around it somehow. But it's a great idea because we've sold aquifers and shit to like Saudi Arabia. The Chinese own half our farmland. Like, you know. And the corporation shipped all the jobs overseas. So the corporations themselves, none of them are patriots as much as they try and pretend to be at the top. Whatever MAGA jerk-off runs the company. or owns it, as he's shipping all the jobs to China and bringing H-1B visa workers in and hiring illegals at the same time. But they're patriots, right? No. If a corporation gave a shit about this country, they'd have their manufacturing here. If they gave a shit about the prosperity of the United States, they wouldn't have shipped all the jobs overseas and brought foreigners in for the rest. It was always about the dollar, son. Nothing more. Meet Akash Baba, the 22-year-old Musk cultist who now has access to everyone's social security number. Yes, here's another one of the children. Another sociopath who can never get a date, I'm sure. Again, since they have all your information in mind, this is perfectly fair, right? I think so. Here's Rick Wilson responding to propaganda Barbie or Goebbels wannabe Barbie, but Barbie's a little prettier, to be honest. Carolyn Levitt announces that today the first flights from the United States to Guantanamo Bay with illegal migrants are underway. Isn't that great, people? The first concentration camp is well underway, and Miss Levitt is all too happy to announce that. With her chest out, what little she has. Rick Wilson is responding saying, so we're concentrating all these people into, what's the word? I guess we'd call it a camp. Yeah. That's why they call them concentration camps. Never before has this many people been sent there offshore. No one knows what's going on. No one knows who's going there. No one knows what crimes they've committed. Again, vagary upon vagary. All they say is the worst of the worst are going there. Well, they could call you the worst of the worst. Just one of you watching this right now. Be you bot, troll, whatever the fuck you are. They could say that about you. And you could end up on that flight and no one would even fucking know or care. Because the press ain't reporting individuals, what crimes they've committed. Is there a list of crimes where you're eligible for the concentration camp? No. Just vagaries, worst of the worst, like in true Hitler fashion. And again, we just all go about our lives as more and more people get added to that list and we don't even know about it at first. This is evil genius here. Have the camp outside the country. People can't protest there. People can't keep an eye on it. And everyone taking part, military, whoever you are, contractor, you will be held accountable. I want you to know that. And that's for sure. That's for certain. I'm not just a dude in a car talking. I'm much more than that. There will be no, I was just following orders. That's what Hitler's people said. Didn't work for them either. Or it was just business. No, that works here. Not Lakeside, son. So yes, Miss Levitt is happy to announce that the new concentration camp is underway. And we have no idea who's going, what they've done, nothing about them. Because we're just happy with vagaries with Donnie. Again, here's the 6 individuals. Cole Killian, Akash Baba, Ethan Shoutran, Edward Karstein, Luke Farator, Gavin Klinger. It might be a misspelling. And here's the 6 pictures again. You could easily find these online anywhere. And again, they think it's funny and cute to gather all our information. That's a two-way street, son. And again, there's another list being made on the other side. All the names are on it right now. If you turn away and continue or not take part in this any longer, maybe your name comes off that list. But I know none of you will do that. I can see the sociopathy in every one of their eyes. And these are the people, you know, again, not that there's anything wrong with that. That couldn't get a date, socially awkward. It's obviously these are those people. And they idolize people like Musk who drop out of college and do a startup on their daddy's money and become successful eventually, only because they were born rich. Everybody wants to be a billionaire by 22. The problem is at 22, you don't know jack shit, man. I didn't know shit at 22. I was a fucking idiot. And there's a reason older people say that about themselves even. Because it's true. You don't know jack shit at 22. Unless you're a very special individual. Trump's announcement, he intends to seize control of Gaza, displace the Palestinian population, and turn the coastal enclave into the Riviera of the Middle East, is so far outside the box that it was not clear he even knew there was a box. Peter Baker writes, that's the New York Times. From this morning, I believe, or yesterday morning. And yes, Donnie said this, and no, the Muslim world is not in an uproar like I expect them to be. Yes, there's things being said, but if a prior president had said this, there would be riots in every Muslim country. It'd be on all the channels. It'd just be ridiculous. But for some reason, when Donnie says it, it's not that big of a deal. And again, he gave the game away. Oh, let's turn it into the Riviera. These people just got bombed out of their homes. And he's talking about real estate. And he said we want an ownership stake as if Palestine is a business. Because those are the terms he's used to using. Because he's a fucking sociopath. He's the beast, actually. He's the fucking Antichrist, actually. Again, a person discussing one of the worst attacks against Israel that's ever taken place. One of the worst abominations I've ever seen since I joined this planet. And then further abominations with the leveling of Gaza, which I take no pleasure in seeing, but I knew it would happen. They gave Netanyahu the go-ahead by that heinous, horrible attack. There had to be a response. But again, you have a traumatized Israeli people from what they went through. You have a more than traumatized Palestinian people in Gaza. And this orange thing, is up there talking about what we can turn it into from a real estate developing perspective. Oh my God, what have you Rubes done? And Bibi's all about it. Yeah, he'll join in that little endeavor. My point is, I think Donnie's going to find a way to get it done. I don't think it's so far outside the box for the beast. Does Maggie Haberman understand who she's dealing with? Did she read the Torah, maybe? Because there's some shit in there, too. Old Testament. Maybe Maggie doesn't know. I don't know. Here's Leon. Did you know that over $100 billion in COVID payments was stolen by professional foreign fraud rings? Really, Leon? Because this is who I saw stealing it. Republican congressmen and senators. And Donnie's friends. Matt Gaetz. People like that. People I know damn well were committing fraud with their business bailouts, their business loans, which turned out to be forgiven, of course. Welfare for people that own, billion-dollar companies, multi-million-dollar companies. But the poor person who wants a break on their college debt or who's on welfare, they're a scumbag. They're not earning their existence on the merits. But Leon and his buddies at CEO and executive levels that have their hand out to the government every day, all fucking day, they're not scumbags, right? Oh no, they're the biggest scumbags because they're the ones that always preach the bullshit. Pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Look, I did it. No, you didn't do it. Your daddy was rich. That's all. That's most of your stories. And then you had your hand out to the government, just like Leon, over and over and over and over. And Leon dares talk about cost cutting and shit like that. So the majority of the money, the slush fund, the COVID loan slush fund, they weren't going to allow the Democrats in government to really participate. They gave loans to people like Manchin. Majority of the loans went to Donnie's buddies and Republican senators and congressmen. It was a total slush fund. It was disgusting during a plague, what I witnessed. It was a slush fund for Donnie and his friends and Republican people in government. That's who got most of the money, by far. But Leon wouldn't want to talk about that. Because Leon has his hand out more than fucking anybody. And he wants even more. Leon's never satisfied. Because he's just not a liked individual. So he has to force the world to like him by like enslaving us all or something. And that's not a dramatization or drama either. That's the fucking dead-ass truth. Here's another example of a protest voter or a person that said, back in the day, I'm not voting for Joe and Kamala. I don't like what they're doing to the Palestinians. Well, how do you like Palestine now? Donnie and Bibi and Jared, they want to build a resort just like we told you all and just like they told you all in advance. Yet you had a point to prove. In your stubbornness, in your anger, in your wisdom, you shot your own self in the ass. Metaphorically, you shot the Palestinians in the ass. Their land is rubble now. And you've got developers ready to swoop in, vultures. Oh yeah, let's open a resort. Let's make it look like the French Riviera. Fuck the Palestinians. We'll just move them out of the way. Anyway, here we go. She starts off, this is an old post from 2023. As a Middle Eastern and Muslim voter, I will not be voting Biden-Harris in 24. I cannot vote for a cabinet that willingly murders innocent civilians and is complicit. That's not how you spell complicit, is it? In a genocide. I don't think it is. Sorry, folks, can't be me. This decision has been made. Okay, you made your decision. You want to make a point. You want to take a stand. You want to allow the possibility or straight up allow Bibi's best friend. According to Bibi, he just said it the other day, Donnie's the best friend of Israel that's ever been. So you want that guy who's Bibi's best friend and Vlad's best friend. Or Vlad's bitch. Because Vlad doesn't have any friends. You want him in charge of the cause. You want the person that literally opened up weapons that Biden said, I'm not going to allow Israel to have right now because I don't like what they're doing. You give it to Bibi's best friend, who just in day one said, oh, I'm giving Israel all those weapons that Biden wouldn't. And yeah, since Palestine's leveled, let's turn it into the Riviera and we'll just move the Palestinians out. And I find it really funny. You know what's funny? When the Jews were standing around after World War II, no one wanted to take them in. No country wanted to take in the Jews. Not one. So they had to make a land. And yes, I'm sure there were agendas behind that. But no one wanted to take them in. Guess how all the Muslim countries feel about the Palestinians? None of them want to take them in. I find that highly ironic after what happened to the Jews after World War II. So she says she ain't going to do it. And here she is today, January 2025, January 28th, this looks like. Why the fuck are Democrats so silent? The nation is falling apart. Please, for the love of God, say or do something. Well, they could have had the power to do something if this person didn't decide to take a stand and make a point. Now the Democrats have no power. They can't do jack shit. They have no majorities. All the guardrails have been removed. Pretty soon, Hegseth and the boys are going to stop caring what judges say, what the law is. They've already broken it many times, actually. So did Leon and his band of bitches. They're going to get to a point soon. There's a lot of protests going on across the country that are not being televised as well. It's going to get to a point soon where they got to go full authoritarian, I feel. And Donnie's going to get that Israel thing done. That's integral to what he needs to do. So it won't be so far outside the box. And again, another perfect example of a person either not voting at all and shooting themselves in the foot, or voting the other way for the even worse option for the cause they claim to care about and the people they claim to care about. Not a very smart hill to die on, not a very smart way to take a stand. You've literally poured more fire, or excuse me, poured more fuel on the fire. That's what this person has done. And then they come running to the very people they told to fuck off. Hey, why aren't you doing something? Well, we have no majorities and all the guardrails have been, everyone warned you about this. Everyone told you, you don't like what Biden and Kamala are doing? Guess what Donnie's going to do? Donnie and Jared been talking for years how nice that land is over there. And Donnie's Bibi's best friend got no love for the Palestinians. First priority was give Bibi more weapons that Biden wouldn't give. So yeah, and then then there's the Latin voters that voted for him as well that are literally getting deported or asked for their papers even though they're citizens. That always happens in roundup situations based on ethnicity. It's the only way to profile people, right? So if you look Latin, I told Mr. Cortez on a live stream right here 11 months ago, all you have to do is look Latin to be harassed or arrested or taken to the gulag or shipped to Guantanamo. Maybe you won't be able to prove citizenship in time. Maybe your wife won't answer the phone. Who the fuck knows? Next thing you know, you're on one of them military flights to El Salvador, Guantanamo. And, the Indian citizens they dropped off in India today, 100 Indian from the country of India. All they said about them is, oh, these illegal immigrants came here the wrong way during the Biden administration. We're taking them back. Okay, that's no details whatsoever. We don't know if they've committed crimes. If they are citizens, not citizens, we have no idea. All we get is vagaries. For all I know, one of you could have been on that flight to India. One of you could have been on that flight to Guantanamo for all I fucking know, and that's how it's going to work. That's why it'll work. Because we just accept these vagaries from him, from them. So they're going to keep running that way. And we'll sit there talking, yeah, it's only the worst of the worst getting taken. It's no big deal, man. Let me go to church on Sunday and sing about Jesus and all that. And on Monday, I'll be out there talking to the boys at work, and while we're shooting guns at some ducks or whatever, hunting, fishing, riding around in our ATVs or F-250s, we'll talk about how great it is that 100 people that we don't even know just got shipped off to India. We have no idea who they are, what they did. We'll talk about how great a job Trump is doing, shipping Latin people off that are labeled the worst of the worst when we have a convicted felon as president. No more details other than that. And people will walk around advocating for that and thinking they're a good person because they go to church on Sunday. No, son, you're not a good person. And you're advocating for evil, and one day it may be you on that list. For whatever reason, it doesn't matter. That's how it always worked. And if you just would have simply read the poem, not that you would care because it's the football game that matters. When they came for me, there was no one left. In other words, so many people, especially in America, they don't give a fuck unless it knocks on their door. As long as they doing okay, it's all okay. That's an unfortunate attitude. It cost us our country. Now it's coming to this person's door after they wanted to make a point and take a stand in their infinite wisdom. Now they want to cry to the very people they took a stand against. And so many of you will do this exact thing. Because you think you're wise and you are not. You're going to learn that the hard way, just like this woman did. Be careful what you wish for. You might just get it. She wished for Biden and Harris not to win. Well, she got her wish. And now she wants to turn to the people, she told to fuck off. Choices have consequences, son. Choices have consequences. This is Nancy Mace responding to a post by Donnie. The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it too. That's a quote. And Nancy's over top of this saying, let's turn Gaza into Mar-a-Lago. Are you happy, protest voters? Are you happy, people that didn't vote? In protest, I mean. If you just didn't vote because you looked at it and said, yeah, well, they let Donnie slide. Why should I bother? I don't blame you at all. You stayed home and protest over Palestine? Well done. You have Nancy Mace, part of the new Nazi regime, making it, a joke. Let's turn Gaza into Mar-a-Lago. As people's homes are leveled, as people died, people lost children, friends, family. No place to go. None of the Muslim countries want them. They're only a pawn to them. That's the result of your protest vote or your protest staying home. And Ron Filipowski says, this is MAGA. Yes, this is MAGA. The cruelty is the point. They make jokes about situations like this. All day, every day. And again, Donnie says we're going to take over Gaza. I'm surprised the whole Muslim world isn't rioting right now. I don't need that one. I don't need that one. This is interesting.
I post, excuse me, I posted this in the community or post section earlier. Sorry, my mouth is dry. Perhaps I should drink some water. And what it says is, not for nothing, but everyone realizes that these teenagers and 20 somethings who have complete access to the Treasury payment source code are now number one espionage recruitment targets for Russia and China, right? Now, that's an excellent quote by Asha Rangappa. Not sure who that is, but it's a brilliant quote. But I think she's missing the moral of the incident. Leon and Donnie's been Russia's bitch or Vlad's bitch for decades. And Leon was a Trojan horse for Vlad, China, others. In other words, I hate to break it to everyone. We don't have to worry about the kids being targets for espionage. They are the espionage. And Leon is the distribution point. And so's Donnie. No one needs to kidnap one of those kids and, work them for information. They're gathering it for people currently. So everyone misses the moral of the incident with statements like this. You're assuming the information isn't being turned over right now or isn't being sold to the highest bidder in the future. Of course it is. Why do you think they're gathering it up so fast? Like a blitzkrieg before anyone has a chance to stop them. And again, a great cover is, oh, well, we just need access to classified information and every citizen's information and every government employee's, because we're trying to eliminate wasteful spending. Yes, Leon Scum, the man who's had his hand out taking billions of your tax money. Yes, he's trying to eliminate wasteful spending. No, son, that's a cover. We're dismantling our country for our enemies. That's all. So, as brilliant as this woman is, the point she made, she needs to take it a step further and understand that I'm operating under the assumption that Vlad has every bit of our information, and so does Xi and others. Because that was the point. Trump's birthright citizenship order is blocked indefinitely. When I saw this, I thought to myself, again, they're going to get tired of this real soon. The red tape, the judges blocking shit, protests, all that. That's not going to last much longer. I can't see it lasting much longer. Trump on Iran possibly assassinating him. Yes, a reporter, I watched the video, a reporter asked Donnie, what if Iran retaliates, tries to kill you even? I was like, wow, that's a crazy question. That's a reporter really fishing for a good comment from the interview subject. Donnie said, and I watched it, if they did that, they would be obliterated. That would be the end. I've left instructions. Like when you have dirt on some oligarch and you say, if I die, this has already been submitted to authorities or someone's going to give this to you. I've left instructions. That's what Donnie did right there. If someone killed our president, they wouldn't need to leave instructions. We'd obliterate them. That's what would happen. We don't have a military like 8 times the size of everyone else's for no reason. If somebody fucks with us, look what happened when alleged terrorists blew up a couple of our buildings. Well, we were in war for over 20 years over that. And that's how America would handle anybody that fucks with us. That's what our military's for. And we're not shy about deploying them. Excuse me, they're not shy about deploying them. I don't deploy jack shit. I've never had authority like that. I wasn't born into the right family. And it's a good thing, too, because I would have been groomed like these people. I would have, been entranced into the clubs and all the occult fucking bullshit. worthless Egyptian bullshit, utterly void of any wisdom whatsoever. But they make a lot of pretty shapes, don't they? Obelisks and pyramids and eyes, and wow, it's all so fascinating. Ain't a shred of wisdom in none of it. I've looked into it. And if there would have been wisdom in there, I would have found it, like I found it somewhere else. So Donnie says he's left instructions, and he didn't just say outright that he was going to obliterate Iran. I want to be fair even to the beast. It was a question posed to him. But just remember that he said he would obliterate Iran, okay? The Trump administration is considering deputizing state and local law enforcement to arrest suspected undocumented immigrants at traffic stops and other locations. Uh-oh, papers, please. That's where we at. That's where we about to go. The brown shirts. Papers. This is the Washington Post that printed that. If you consider that reliable. And hey, we've got legit Nazis running shit now, so that could totally be true. They need a force. Why do you think all them J6 people were let out? That's a future force he could use on us. Why do you think he's offering buyouts to everyone? Wants loyalists down to the janitor of every agency so they can deploy them on us. Because it ain't just about brown-skinned immigrants, man. This is much bigger than that. Not that that's not big. Because again, it's just persecution of darker-skinned people. Once again, nothing new. Same old bullshit. And now they're thinking about deputizing and literally, at traffic stops, papers, please, to check for citizenship, not to see if you got warrants. Breaking, Doge has gained access to Medicare and Medicaid payment systems. This is investing.com. Elon Musk's Doge team examines Medicare and Medicaid services. Examines, you say? Yeah, I bet. And his band of little bitches. They got all that info too, and God knows what they're going to do to those programs. Because they don't need you people anymore. They don't need the geriatrics anymore. Donnie ain't leaving. He didn't leave last time. And Leon certainly ain't. These aren't the kind of people that give up power once they get it. That was also the warning. And you literally witnessed him not give up power last time. You still put your name on it. Oof, I'd hate to be you. I'd hate to be you. During that moment by the lake, I'd hate to be you. After you witnessed that and still handed your country over to a traitor. So they got Medicare and Medicaid. They got the whole government. I don't know which one of the kids this is, or even if it's one of the actual kids. When shitposts become reality, Elon just gave this kid total control over Medicaid payment systems. Is this the Karstein fellow, maybe? Before he grew the poof? My God, that kid's diminutive. I don't know who that is. But oh my God, when I saw it, I thought to myself, what have the rubes done? Oh, all the alpha males, Thale, Musk, this kid, the group of incel sociopaths he's got hanging around him, Donnie shitbag shitting his pants, Hegseth all bloated and drunk, rapey and shit, white supremacist tattoos on his bloated, sad-ass body. I don't see any alpha male. Where they at? Ted Cruz, spineless. Mitch McConnell, spineless. Turkey neck. Where are the alpha males in your movement? Charlie Kirk, Shapiro, Fuentes, Alex Jones. Where are the alpha males? I see obese people. I see little boys that are 40 years old, 50 years old. I see a lot of high squeaky voices. I thought this was an alpha male movement. No, it sounds like a beta male movement. It sounds like a zeta male movement, actually. When the leader shits his pants and leaves the house in orange face. You saw what he looked like when he was standing in front of a real motherfucker, Gavin Newsom. A dude that could. And he wanted to. Because Donnie was talking big shit as Gavin's state was burning down. And I could tell when the reporter brought it up that Gavin wanted to kill somebody. And Gavin's a big boy. Donnie wore lifts just to be as big as him. Some fucked up Frankenstein boots. It's embarrassing. All leaning forward like this and shit. Or should I do it this way? I don't know. I don't know how to do it. What the fuck? What is enviable about that? I don't get it, but it doesn't have to make logical sense, and it sure doesn't, because it's supernatural. It's the only explanation. This is a Fox News breaking thing. I believe it was this morning. CIA offering buyouts to its entire workforce. You can't do that with the CIA. They have years invested into things. You can't just bring all new people into the CIA like that. Especially with the secretive nature. But again, the point is to dismantle our country for our enemies. And they want loyalists in every position down to the janitor again. This is horrifying right here. Because the CIA is a level of classification and operatives and operations that you don't want people knowing about, especially a group of incels and Leon scum. You don't want sycophants and loyalists down to the janitor. So fucking dangerous. And once they remove enough people and fill it with loyalists, man, it's really over. This is so bad. And Liam Neeson is asking, what is this, Putin's birthday? Yeah, it is. It's been Putin's birthday ever since November 5th. That's why all of us have been yelling for 8 years about this person, Donnie Shitbags. And for you to not give your country away to him. Because every day is Putin's birthday. Every day is Xi's birthday now. The Saudis' birthday. Donnie's birthday. Leon's birthday. Thanks to you. Rick Wilson, ready for the big MAGA shift from we're not going to have any more foreign wars to, of course, making America great means sending American troops to occupy Gaza. Yep. You know, I heard a lot of bragging from right-wingers over the past 4 years. Donnie didn't get us into no new wars, blah, blah, blah. No, Donnie was an absolute warmonger the first 6 months till he got shamed and realized you people weren't going to put up with it. No one was. But now he doesn't plan to leave, and he's got even bigger plans that you don't understand because they're supernatural and they were written over 1,000 years ago. Everything leads to that plan, and it will be revealed in time. Don't worry, it's being revealed. Everything I'm saying was going to happen is happening. Just like the story says. I don't want it to again. I don't want to be right. It's the difference between me and everyone else that gets on camera and tries to be a genius and be a star. I don't want to be right. And I keep waiting to see that thing that tells me I'm wrong. And it just, every day it escalates further. the other direction. So yes, in other words, they'll shift the goalposts from, yeah, look at this guy, no wars, man of peace, and we're all about that, to, yeah, let's occupy Gaza, let's annex Canada, fuck them, fuck Mexico, fuck Greenland, fuck the Panama Canal people. Let's just take it all. Because it has an R next to it. And we can move the goalposts because we're in a cult. And we don't actually believe in anything. We don't stand for anything. We just defend whatever has the R next to it. Because that's the Jesus thing to do. I guess I'm just really confused about why we were concerned about a Chinese spy app having all of our data, but we're not concerned about a South African immigrant having all of our data and all of our social security numbers and access to all of our money. Yes, and that South African oligarch will be sharing all that most likely with the Chinese and the Russians if he hasn't already. So, yeah, we were all complaining about a Chinese app. Yet they're not complaining about the South African oligarch that has all their info and the little group of incel sociopaths that have it as well. Where are the complaints from MAGA on that? This is a Donnie Shitbags quote, or post on Truth Social, excuse me. I want Iran to be a great and successful country, but one that cannot have a nuclear weapon. They already have a nuclear weapon. That's why no one's invaded them. Reports that the U.S., working in conjunction with Israel, is going to blow Iran into smithereens are greatly exaggerated. That part's in caps, greatly exaggerated. And let me stop there. Ron Filipowski making the point. This bumbling fool just threatened to completely obliterate Iran yesterday. In other words, he's the one spreading the rumor. So he's the reason Iran thinks that Donnie wants to obliterate them. You get it? Now Donnie's here the next day saying, yeah, those rumors that people are hearing, that's greatly motherfucker, it was you who started the rumor. None of you live in reality, and this thing especially. He lives in a reality where I will say anything to get to the end goal of the grift. Anything. And the marks will eat it up like soup. Let's continue. I would much prefer a verified nuclear peace agreement, that's all capitalized, first letter, which will let Iran peacefully grow and prosper. We should start working on it immediately and have a big Middle East celebration when it is signed and completed. God bless the Middle East. That don't sound like Donnie, does it? The part that struck me the most, because I have a different perspective on it than all of you people do. And have a big Middle East celebration when it's signed and completed, because Donnie knows it's going to be signed and completed. Donnie knows what his destiny is. They all do. They've all been read in. Again, that's kind of proof of everything I've been saying. When he does get these deals done, and I think he will, because he has a certain person's blessing, I believe they're going to have that Middle East celebration. Funny that Donnie's mentioning it now. Like he already knows what's going to happen. Like he's certain it'll happen. He's even talking about the celebration afterwards. Wow. Interesting. Concerning. I'm not even going to read that one. This is something I posted, I believe, yesterday. You see a lot of memes like this. And what it's basically saying, you got Hillary on top, you got Musk on the bottom, and you've got an incel on the right of both of them. The same incel. with the MAGA hat, with the mark on their head. You know, they read scripture for years, they went to church, and the beast will require you to have a mark on your forehead or your hand or in your hand. Depends which translation you read. I have a feeling it's going to be on and in. So he's got the mark, the MAGA slogan on his forehead. And Hillary Clinton's next to him. And she says, I used a private server for email. And the incel is freaking out. So mad about it. So all about it. The anger over Hillary's private email server. And then on the bottom, Elon says, I am extracting every citizen's personal info into my private server. And the incel has a smile on his. That's okay, Leon, because that has an R next to it. That's where you people are at. You were all mad about Hillary's private server. You ain't mad about Leon and his team of 20-somethings sifting through all your information, sifting through classified material as well. Sifting through payment systems. This is what you should be screaming about. You shouldn't have been screaming about Hillary Clinton. Did nothing but a service for Vlad Putin doing that. You were his useful idiots, and there's no disputing it. You're going to watch the ruination of your country play out. You're watching it right now. Wonder how long you're going to cheer it on for. I imagine you'll cheer it on till it comes to your doorstep, and don't worry, it will. Guaranteed. Big news. This is Secretary Sean Duffy. I guess he's of transportation or something like that. Talk to the Doge team. They are going to plug in to help upgrade our aviation system. You know, after the crashes we just had, after they totally fucked with the FAA because they fined Leon over his rockets. Leon had to get his vengeance right away. Well, now we get the privilege of the 20-somethings and Leon working on aviation. Oh my God. That's not horrifying at all, is it, guys? Holy fucking shit. Last motherfucking place you will catch me for the next 10 years probably is on a plane. Oh my God. And Ron says, is there going to be any oversight or transparency on this one? Or is it going to be another trust me, bro, where anyone who asks questions about it gets investigated by the DC U.S. Attorney for Doge harassment? Great question. And that's what I've been saying. Same thing Ron's saying. What is this trust me, bro bullshit when we send 30,000 people to Guantanamo and 111 troops and we've got propaganda Goebbels Barbie saying, yeah, the camp's underway. We don't know anything about this. It's just trust me, bro, to the worst of the worst. I don't trust jack shit with Donnie Shitbags. He tells a lie a second. I don't trust jack shit with Goebbels Barbie either, or Leon Scum, or his band of little incels. Not a damn word. If they said the sky was blue, I wouldn't believe them. Now they're going to be working on aviation. And again, all the vagaries with all these different roundups and shipping 100 Indians back to India and shipping thousands of Latin people to Guantanamo. At least that's what they're telling us. Who the fuck knows what they actually are. Shipping people to El Salvador because the president of El Salvador has volunteered his services in jailing even American citizens. If Donnie would like that. So yes, trust me, bro, is the source all the time for this. And we're all just going about our lives like it's no big deal that 30,000 unnamed people are about to be shipped to an island offshore where we can't see what's going on, who's there. And that worst of the worst label could be put on you. And maybe you'll end up on one of them planes. And that's when you'll realize, oh shit. I guess I should have made my choices about more than owning the libs or my team winning. My choices should have been about my children's future, my future, our country's future. Decency, morals, etc. That's not what your choices were, unfortunately, but you'll take all the trust me bros as people are loaded onto planes and shipped off to Guantanamo. And you'll clap until it's one of your people on the plane or you. Just like they did in Hitler's day, as they watched group after group get taken, and everyone said, well, I'm not in that group, so who cares? And then eventually it got to their group too. And by then it's too late. But it's already too late now, don't worry. Starting World War III, ethnic cleansing is needed for a new Trump resort. This person's talking about Gaza, and I just thought that was a very clever remark. Yeah, hey, as long as Bibi, Donnie, and Jared Kushner and his convicted felon jailbird father make a bunch of money in Gaza on building resorts. Hey, I just watched a video yesterday. Some Middle Eastern billionaire is giving $20 billion for Donnie's new AI project. This is the El Salvador thing I mentioned a minute ago. The relocation of black and brown people is a real thing. Oh, indeed it is. And that's just what they're telling us. Who knows what other kind of people are on there too. But hey, as long as it's black and brown people, we don't mind, right, Rubes? U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said late Monday that El Salvador's president has offered to accept deportees from the U.S. of any nationality, including violent American criminals now in prison in the United States. President Nayib Bukele has agreed to the most unprecedented, extraordinary migratory agreement anywhere in the world, Rubio said after meeting with Bukele at his Lakeside County house outside San Salvador for several hours. Here's a quote. We can send them and he will put them in his jails. Rubio said of migrants of all nationalities detained in the United States. Did you fucking hear that? Let's hit it again. We can send them and he will put them in his jails, Rubio said of migrants of all nationalities detained in the United States. And he's also offered to do the same for dangerous criminals currently in custody and serving their sentences in the United States, even though they're U.S. citizens or legal residents. I told you it would go here. A while ago, I told you this. Now we've got people offering their jails for even American citizens, even further away than Guantanamo, I think. I don't have a map in front of me, but I have a feeling El Salvador's further. Now another location we cannot monitor. And now what's being offered is, oh, we'll take you, whoever you want, Donnie. Whatever you want, whoever you want, as long as we can be in line for a big favor. Or maybe you'll pay us to do it. Your country will go on the list, El Salvador. You don't want to go on the list by taking part in this. Trust me, bro. Trust me. Rubio is visiting El Salvador to press a friendly government to do more to meet Donald Trump's demands for a major crackdown on immigration. Well, what about the citizens that don't have immigration issues? Because they offered to take them too. Here's Benny Johnson. Remember Benny Johnson? Let's see what he has to say, and then I'll tell you who he is again. Well, one, Mr. Johnson is a paid shill for Russia. That was exposed before the whole world. And Mr. Johnson is still platform. This looks like Twitter here. I see a blue check next to his name. So that's probably a Twitter post. So he's at least up on Twitter. I assume he's still up on YouTube and all the other places as well, but I'm not certain of that. Don't quote me on that. But it would fit, the keeping of Tim Pool. Why not keep Benny too? Because remember, it was a whole network of podcasters that were taking the Russian money through the network, the woman that ran the network. Benny was one of them. Let's see what Benny says. World leaders are now celebrating the abolishment of fake news funded by USAID. The dam has broken. And this person, Victor Orban, or Orban Victor, I don't know. Victor Orban. So apparently USAID financed ultra-progressive Politico in Brussels and basically entire left-wing media in Hungary under the previous US administration, and they called me Disruptor of the Year. Yeah, that's not completely true. The money was distributed for a newspaper or some publication over the course of 5 or 6 years. So this story, again, once you look into it for 5 seconds, you find all the holes in it. More lies, more cover for shills for Russia, Mr. Orban, and Benny Johnson. More cover for Musk to destroy our country and destroy this agency specifically. And it seems like the foreign leaders, the crooked foreign leaders, like Putin, Orban, it seems they really don't like this agency for some reason. So Benny Johnson, remember, paid shill for Russia, everyone knows it, yet he's still broadcasting. Two-time plagiarist, got fired from one publication for straight up plagiarism. Got called into a meeting at a second publication after everyone knew he was a plagiarist. And they basically told him, we think you're plagiarizing again. He got accused of it again. That's Benny Johnson. Scumbag that takes Russian money and betrays Canada and America. And who, even after he's discovered as a shill for Russia, he's still platformed. And he's still telling lies, causing division and problems. And he's a two-time plagiarist. Real reliable person, right? Real trustworthy. Not a grifter at all, right? Right. Trump officials try to walk back Gaza takeover plan. I was surprised to see this headline today. And again, it made me think they're going to get tired of walking things back. That Israel stuff, that's integral to what Donnie needs to do. He will make it happen. I'm certain he'll make it happen. Because the story's playing out how it's supposed to. So I assume that part will play out as well. And hey, you just had Bibi and Donnie in front of the whole world say, yeah, we're just going to remove all the Palestinians, turn it into the Riviera. Everybody cool with that, right? There's a reason they were so bold. Got more things aligned than ever before for this to really happen. And Donnie has a special blessing. Donnie's that guy we read about for over 1,000 years that's going to make that deal that no one else can. What have we witnessed our whole lives between the Muslim world and Israel itself? Abject chaos and warfare. Never peace. Hardly ever. Yet somehow the orange maniac has him at a ceasefire. Again, it's a false miracle timed by Bibi on purpose to give Donnie the victory. Because Bibi needs him to save his ass. And he's going to ride that Donnie wave till its full conclusion, till the Israelis have to abandon their homes and run the fuck away. That's written as well. That's where it's going. If you allow Bibi to take you down that road, and you will, that's written as well. And I'm sorry, the urgency of these enormous statements and plans they're trying to achieve tells me they don't have a lot of time. It's obvious. U.S. military plane carrying about 100 undocumented immigrants lands in India. It doesn't even say they're all Indian, but in certain parts of the article, it kind of intimates that. But we have no idea. It's a military plane. Who the fuck knows who's on it? Could be my cousin, for all I fucking know. Only vagaries do we get in the articles. If we're going to put up the facade of pretending it's not a concentration camp, could we at least get a list of names and offenses and, you know, who they are, where they're going, so we can have some oversight on this by the general public? Of course not. Of course we're not going to get that. Because it's a fucking concentration camp. They don't want you to know who's going there. That's the purpose of having it offshore, too. You can't really verify who's there, can you? Because I'm sure those 111 boys that went over there, they're going to be good little soldiers, good little Nazis, and do their job and collect their paycheck on the back of the people they're imprisoning in a concentration camp in 2025 under a U.S. flag. Wow. If I wrote it in a novel, people, that's bullshit, man. That would never happen. Literally happening before your eyes. A concentration camp being birthed with the first 111 scumbags to police it. I wonder if they all had to pass a loyalty test first. I bet they fucking did. Here's Leon, defund NPR. It should survive on its own. Wow. And Mr. Vindman, Alexander Vindman, the hero, defund Musk. He should survive without massive government contracts. Not only the contracts, the massive handouts of your tax money. Again, every time you see, oh, wow, 7,500 back if I buy a Tesla, that's your money, son, going to a Tesla buyer. That's welfare for Leon on your back. That's socialism, son. And Donnie don't mind it, and Leon don't mind it, and Mitch McConnell don't mind it. You know that thing you guys all say you hate? In other words, again, Mr. Vindman, as brilliant and heroic as he is, missed one aspect of Leon. Leon always got his hand out, and he still wants more. Why do you think he wants control of the payment system immediately? Access to that $6 trillion a year that goes through it. Because Leon's never satisfied. And he's talking about a public access news channel. Like, again, like a true Gestapo or Hitler-esque authoritarian. Let's get rid of all the other media and just have my propaganda channels. My propaganda outlets. My God, Hitler would have had a field day with social media, just like Vlad did with you rubes. Got you to hand over the most powerful nation ever in the history of mankind. Just hand it over. That's what you've done. Why isn't Elon Musk examining PPP payments where fraud actually occurred? Because the money went to Trump's buddies. I literally just said that. That's what I saw during the plague. as everyone was locked out of their workplace. People lost businesses, everything. I saw a bunch of Republicans in government use it as a slush fund for them and their friends. That's what I saw. Sorry. And I don't live in the bubble you live in. I'm not in a cult. I just state reality, as painful as it is, for a rube's ear to hear. Yeah, how about he investigate all that fraud? People lying about how many employees they had, lying about businesses they had. Just say get $1 million. Arab Americans for Trump has changed its name to Arab Americans for Peace following Trump's comments that the U.S. would take over the Gaza Strip. Yeah, I bet they did. Again, any minority that voted for Nazis, man, what are you doing? You're seeing the consequences of it now. Not only did you vote for Nazis, you voted for the literal Antichrist. Not an Antichrist, the Antichrist. I'm not even exaggerating. Here's Secretary Marco Rubio. I will not attend the G20 summit in Johannesburg. South Africa is doing very bad things. Expropriating private property using G20 to promote solidarity, equality, and sustainability. In other words, DEI and climate change. My job is to advance America's national interest, not waste taxpayer money or coddle anti-Americanism. No, this is an issue because Leon is from South Africa. When apartheid ended, the blacks in South Africa were very upset that the whites took all the good farmland, all the good property, and basically treated them like slaves and second-class citizens in a segregated society. And only Nazi families would ever want to live there. I'm sorry. That's why Leon's grandparents or parents fled there, because they were Nazis. And that's Nazi paradise, where a minority of whites have control of a majority of blacks in their own nation. And they wonder why the animosity. So this has become an issue, how the whites are being treated in South Africa. And notice they don't mention the colors here. Neither does Donnie when he talks about it. Look, the whites in South Africa should have just left when apartheid ended. They never belonged there in the first place. And I personally wouldn't feel safe if I was there. And I wouldn't blame the people for being real mad at me and wanting to take back what was taken from them through force. But we'll go more into this. Oh, Ron says, we used to boycott South Africa for apartheid. In other words, we used to sanction them and boycott them for their anti-black policies, for their Nazi policies. Now we defend the Nazis and say, how dare you blacks in your own homeland not let the whites do whatever they want that are from somewhere else? How dare you? So ridiculous. Such a ridiculous position to take. And since Leon's from there, now it's an issue. Leon's concerned about the Nazis there. And you know what I think Leon's plan is? To bring them here. Thousands and thousands of more white people that share his ideology. I assume not all of them do, but I assume most of them do. Because that's how they were raised. I have a feeling Elon wants to bring them all here. That'd be a nice little force he could use. That'd be a lot of grateful people that are in a real sticky situation. There'd be a lot of gratitude there, a lot of willingness to help their hero, their savior, Leon, from the country they stole. Here's Liam Neeson as Trump bulldozes Gaza to build golf courses. At least you can sleep well knowing you voted for Jill Stein. Exactly, the protest voters over Gaza, or the protest people that stayed home over Gaza. How's your vote for Jill looking now? Not so good, and that's literally what we all said to you. We understand you're pissed. We understand you care about the Palestinians. We get it. But Joe and Kamala will certainly not be worse than Donnie being charged of that situation, right? Right. Now you understand why you were warned. Now you understand why you are not wise. Hope the vote for Jill was worth it. The shill for Vlad, Jill Stein. There's a picture of Jill hanging with Vlad back in the day. Elon Musk wanted to hire a Turkish green card holder at Doge. The message from the West Wing: we're in the deportation business, and we can't bring in a foreigner to help lay off American federal workers. Yeah, Leon, it'll look a little too much like hypocrisy, even though everything else we do and say is abject hypocrisy, transparent hypocrisy. This is a bridge too far. And again, it proves that Leon doesn't believe in a damn thing, and none of these people in the cult, in this movement, believe in a damn thing except the grift. That's it. Or except their team winning. That's simple. And Leon's an illegal alien himself. Technically, his brother admitted it in an interview with the two of them. And Leon's like, yeah, don't talk about that. Doge uncovers over $15 billion in federal contracts with a South African tech bro microdosing ketamine. Name yet to be revealed. That's a joke. About your beluga whale-shaped, bloated, obese, pasty ass, soft ass oligarch that embodies, I don't know, everything you said about George Soros. Literally. But what I didn't understand, why you people always were so quick to throw Soros' name out there. Oh, he's Jewish and he's a survivor of the Holocaust. Now I know why Alex was screaming Soros because Alex is a white nationalist. That's simple. It's all he's ever been. So yeah, maybe we want to look into those 15 billion in federal contracts. Maybe they're wasteful. Maybe the rockets that blow up are a waste of money. Maybe the cars that catch on fire and burn at 1,000,000 degrees are a waste of money. Maybe the FSD that doesn't actually work and was fraudulently unveiled under the premise of full self-drive when it never was. Maybe all that was the waste. Maybe the tax incentives to buy his shitty cars. Maybe that's waste. Maybe all the welfare we've given him to even start these businesses, it appears that that was waste. I have a feeling all those contracts and more will be staying in existence and won't be seen as waste because that welfare is going to Leon. This is incredible right here. I'm going to go quickly through it. It demonstrates, the reason I'm going to read this to you, it demonstrates how eagerly these little Nazis are to do that evil for Donnie. And the inversion of reality. New memo from Acting Deputy Attorney General Emil Bove to FBI. Is that Emil or Emily? Is there a Y missing? I don't know. Let's continue. Multiple times during the week of January 27, 2025, I asked the FBI's acting leadership to identify the core team in Washington, D.C. responsible for the investigation relating to the events on January 6, 2021. 2021. In other words, she gets right to the point. I'm looking for my revenge list here, and you people aren't being cooperative. The purpose of the request was to permit the Justice Department to conduct a review of those particular agents' conduct pursuant to President Trump's executive order concerning weaponization in the prior administration. Oh, you mean what you're doing right now, weaponization, literally. So yes, first order of business with the FBI is going after the people that investigated Donnie and trying to lock them up. Again, Rubes, is that going to make your life any better? Donnie punishing his enemies? No, it won't. FBI acting leadership refused to comply. That insubordination necessitated, among other things, the directive in my January 31, 2025 memo to identify all agents assigned to investigations relating to January 6, 2021. Not dystopian at all, not Hitler-esque at all, right, guys? In light of acting leadership's refusal to comply with the narrower request, the written directive was intended to obtain a complete data set that the Justice Department can reliably pare down to the core team that will be the focus of the core team that will be the focus of the weaponization review pursuant to the executive order. The memo stated unambiguously, and I stand by these words, that the information requested was intended to commence a review process that will be used to determine whether any additional personnel actions are necessary. What she's saying, we want to get the group narrowed down to a core of people we want to incarcerate and punish and make an example of for daring to investigate a traitor, con man, convicted felon, fraud, adjudicated rapist, adjudicated defamer. Priority one for your convicted felon, your beast, your antichrist, is going after FBI agents that dared investigate his coup. Let me be clear, no FBI employees simply followed orders and carried out their duties in an ethical manner with respect to January 6 investigations is at risk of termination or other penalties. Well, gee, honey, who gets to decide that? Whether we operated in an ethical manner? You fucking Nazis? Because, man, this sounds like it written like from the head of the Gestapo to me. Again, the eagerness to do that evil. There's others that are eager. They've been waiting a long time. They're standing by a lake. And they're very eager to do their duty. And they will not hesitate. Not for a second. And I was just following orders won't be good enough, but I'll get to that. The only individuals who should be concerned about the process initiated by my January 31, 2025 memo are those who acted with corrupt or partisan intent. You mean like you're doing right now? Who blatantly defied orders from department leadership or who exercised discretion in weaponizing the FBI. Again, who makes the decision that it was weaponized? Because it's being weaponized right now. There is no honor in the ongoing efforts to distort that simple truth. Again, she knew this would come out. That's why she's making her press statement here as well. Her propaganda type statement. It's totally not necessary for an internal communication. She knows this is going to go public. She wanted it to go public. She's pissed off the FBI is ignoring her because they're trying to figure out what they want to do. Do we quit? Do we arrest all these people? What the fuck do we do? Because we know where this is going. No honor, she says, as she's throwing her honor out the window for Donnie's shitbags. To distort the simple truth and protect culpable actors from scrutiny on these issues, which have politicized the Bureau, harmed its credibility. No, no, no. Lies have harmed its credibility. That's all. Lies by people like this person right here. Because I heard a lot of lies for years that all those people at January 6th were Antifa and FBI, but then Donnie pardoned them all. So did Donnie pardon FBI agents and Antifa, Rubes? Oh, that was just the lie of the day that Vlad gave you, and Donnie gave you, and Marge gave you, and Bobo gave you. And you heard that and you ran with it because you can't think for yourself. Same thing that happened with my endeavor with Chris Cornell. The mob gave you the talking points, and so many of you little children ran with it. The website ran with it. That made you the hand of the mob. Do you realize that? That made you the hand of the devil. But you don't care as long as you got your revenge on Nikki. As long as you got your revenge on the libs too, right, guys? Guess who's going to get his revenge on all of you? Satan, because he hates you, even though you gave him the throne. To New Rome. Let's continue. If you have witnessed such behavior, I encourage you to report it through appropriate channels. And here's the thing with this. This person that's doing this right now, when they stand before the man, they're going to say, I was just following orders. But that's not going to be good enough. And that person's going to have a rude awakening. And I can't believe what I just read here. Not only do they want everyone to quit at the FBI and every other government worker as well, they want to lock a few of them up. Everyone got mad when people wanted to lock Donnie up, though. After you guys were chanting in 2015 and 2016 to lock Hillary up every day, all day. But then when Donnie was on the chopping block, oh no, we can't have that, right, guys? Right, abject hypocrites that believe in nothing and have no principles or morals? Now we want to go back and lock up FBI agents that dared investigate your traitor that you put your name on. Here's Leon talking about Ilhan Omar, and everybody hates Ilhan Omar, right, guys? Because of everything you've read online, right? Via Vlad, via Alex, via others. Here's Ian Miles Chong. He's real reliable. He's not a biased partisan hack for MAGA at all. Ilhan Omar is conducting seminars for Somalians who are living illegally in the U.S. without documentation, providing guidance on how to evade deportation. Ilhan is at an interview, and she says right now, just state that you were advised by a lawyer not to answer questions. These are simple, basic rights that people have. She's not trying to tell someone to evade deportation. She's advising of the rights that they have. They tell us that as citizens too. When police start asking questions, say you want to talk to your lawyer. That's your right. Because the cops can say you said anything or did anything. So you want to have a lawyer there sitting with you to tell you, how to proceed and watch what's going on. If you're smart. Shit, I got hit by a car. I don't know if you people remember during the Cornell thing. I had a police officer standing over me as I'm bleeding on the fucking sidewalk, trying to pin it all on me. A guy who just got hit by a fucking car. So although I respect police officers, a lot of them are just straight scumbags. And I told you the reason why I respect police officers, because every single town in America got 9, 10 fucking drunks beating their wife, and the cops got to go fucking handle that every fucking day. And possibly lose their life over it because some dumb bitch calls the cops on her husband, or the cops end up showing up and she want to protect the guy that's whooping her ass and hurt a cop over it when the cop's there trying to save her fucking life. So that's why I have a little respect for police officers. But, you know, again, I was bleeding on the sidewalk after getting hit by a car at 40 some miles an hour by a geriatric 80 some years old. Had they been younger, maybe they could have hit the brakes. Oh, they definitely could have. Anyway, I could have put the neck brace on and gotten a lawyer and sued for a lot of money, I'm sure, but I didn't want to be that guy. But the point of the story is, when you think about trusting police officers with your freedom, just remember Nikki laying bleeding on the sidewalk after getting hit by a car and a cop trying to figure out a way to make it his fault. So Leon says she is breaking the law literally outright. Leon, the illegal alien, whose brother admitted they were illegal for a time, which made all of his applications void, everything. So technically, Leon is an illegal alien in this country who's basically dismantling our government right now. And he's talking about Ilhan Omar advising Somali immigrants not to answer questions and call a lawyer. The same advice we all get every day, don't we? Any lawyer would tell you that, right? When the police start asking questions, call me. That's what I'm for. Because they might try and railroad you. And if you let them, oh, they will. So I don't even know if I can believe Ian Miles, but if he's trying to say this is some type of crime, no, it's not at all whatsoever. We all get the same advice. And here's Leon, the illegal alien, commenting on Ilhan trying to help illegal aliens. Again, the irony is just astounding to me. And this, I love this. The CIA being overthrown by a far right-wing government would at least be funny. They must feel like they're in a Twilight Zone episode right now. Maybe they did lose their edge because decades ago, Musk would have been found in the trunk of a burnt car and they would have labeled it suicide. Indeed, that's how they used to handle shit. And that's not even the part I want to focus on. This part up top, the CIA being overthrown by a far right-wing government. It was always the evil libs that were supposed to do this kind of stuff, right? Go after the right-wing FBI and the right-wing CIA, right? And ruin our country and ruin our world. No, son, that was you and your people. The right wing. I explained to you over the years several times, one of my favorite movies about the CIA is called The Good Shepherd with Matt Damon. It's a very long movie, intricate, and it really shows how these men are groomed from a young age, depending on what level their family is in the oligarchy, hierarchy. And they're in the clubs, and they get the high positions. In places like the CIA, because, you know, CIA is a legacy type establishment. They want sons of officers, relatives of officers, because there's a high trust level you need to have in a CIA, boy. And believe me, they keep an eye on you at every second of your life. If you're in that agency, even if you're from the right family, they always looking for traitors. My point is, I told you over the years that the CIA and the FBI were right-wing organizations, and they always have been, and they'll never be liberal organizations. There may be a liberal here and there inside, but they're straight up right-wing orgs. So for a right-wing fascist movement to go to the CIA and say we want everyone to quit because we want all loyalists from the top down to the janitor, and we want to cut the budget by, I don't know, 80%. Dangerous, man. And the CIA must be like, damn, we thought the liberals were our enemy. Wrong, son. Wrong, son. A reminder that Elon is a refugee who left his country to escape the horrors of apartheid ending. And Anonymous posted this, and Greta then posted it. Greta Grace. I don't know if that's Greta Thunberg or not. I'm not sure, because I know Elon and her have had a few words over the years. Anyway, this person named Jonathan posted this. White South Africans are being persecuted for their race in their home country. Also, white South Africans are one of the few population groups that are fiscally positive when immigrating to Europe. We should allow more immigration of white South Africans. We're talking about South Africans. And we're advocating for the whites in South Africa, saying that when they move to Europe, they're a net positive. People of other skin colors are not. That's what this person is saying. And if they're from South Africa, this doesn't surprise me, because only Nazis moved to South Africa, man, back in the day. So it doesn't surprise me that they have this attitude. What about when the blacks were being persecuted under apartheid? No one gave a fuck. Now we're supposed to give a fuck about the whites being persecuted who stole all the land and have the majority of the good farmland? That's where we going with it. So Elon co-signs this and says, yes. Co-signs this statement. Population groups that are fiscally positive when immigrating to Europe. White South Africans are one of the few population. In other words, whites are. Oof. Oof. Elon says, yes. And then Greta above. A reminder that Elon is a refugee who left his country to escape the horrors of apartheid. Ending, yes, and if I was a white person in apartheid South Africa and it ended, yeah, you got to leave. You're going to have a lot of angry people ready for retribution, and that's what's going on. I suggest the whites just leave South Africa. Don't try and do the Nazi thing that Elon wants to do. It's just not a good idea. And you've burdened those people long enough. You've hurt them enough. How about a peace gesture of, you know what? We're going to give you back all your land and we're going to leave. Never fucking happen. Okay, this is Donnie. When asked about, are you willing to use the military in Gaza? This is what I was looking for, because I've been saying they're willing to use the military in a lot of places, and they'll get to that point. They're going to have to. They got no choice. So when he was asked that question, asked whether he was willing to send U.S. troops to fill a security vacuum in Gaza, Trump did not rule it out. As far as Gaza is concerned, we'll do what is necessary. If it's necessary, we'll do that. We're going to take over that piece, that we're going to develop it, he said. Now, they use the phrase security vacuum in Gaza. What, the Israelis can't police it? No, they want America policing it. Because nobody fucks with America. But here's the thing I wondered. I explained, they may invite foreigners in to police us at some point. I wonder, is that the plan for us? Same plan they have for Gaza? And remember, the right-wing conspiracy people, they talked about this for decades, that the evil liberals would allow Chinese soldiers or whatever to come in and police all the rubes. Because, you know, the evil liberals are all about subjugating the rubes. Right now, it's the complete opposite. The rubes are all about subjugating the liberals. That's actual reality. So, hey, if there's a security vacuum here, are we going to have foreign troops policing us like they're about to have in Gaza? Wouldn't surprise me. But again, I don't expect any of the military men and women to say no to turning on us. Did all the German people say no? Turning on their own people? No. I expect every man and woman to take their paycheck and justify it somehow, because that's what humans do. Some of us don't do that, but most of us do. I dug into Musk's dismantling of U.S. aid because it shows his playbook for capturing the whole federal government. What surprised me was his direct involvement in the operation. For example, he demanded suspension of 57 career officers by phone last Monday. Yes, Leon is that person that everyone hates, the micromanager. The guy that wants to tell the janitor how to mop the floor and say he's doing it wrong. Wants to micromanage everything, wants to keep an eye on Donnie for Vlad, etc. He's involved in every one of these departments, trying to let them know that he's in charge now, and you better just let him have access to everything, because this is a coup, and you better go along. He demanded suspension of 57 career officers by phone last Monday. South African oligarch, unelected. But you Rubes knew this was going to happen, and you didn't care. You were willing to work with the globalist satanic oligarch, as Alex would call him, if Alex wasn't a complete fucking shill, to get Donnie in office. You were willing to work with the richest man in the world who wanted to just loot your country and is doing it right now with his band of merry men, or merry boys. Asked a seasoned State Department employee how Marco Rubio has been received so far. He has a minder, like a Trump campaign minder. That's a quote. Someone in his office not of his choosing, like with Tillerson. They sent somebody over because he wasn't totally within the fold. In other words, Rubio isn't getting the whole story. He's only getting pieces of the plan. He's on a need-to-know basis. And plus, in Nazi regimes, in authoritarian regimes, even the bad guys have snitches looking over their shoulder every 5 seconds to let the Fuhrer know if someone's betraying them, if they're loyal enough. That's what Rubio got on his ass right now. He has a monitor, like the Gestapo or something. Oh, and Tillerson, that's Rex Tillerson, who had a position, I can't remember which one, in Donnie's first term, and I believe Tillerson said Donnie was a fucking idiot or something like that after working for him. Tillerson had no problem taking the job, though. And I believe he was an oil executive, so, that was really draining the swamp, having an oil executive in the top position there in government. Oh, and back to the person that revealed the names, one of the first people of Elon's band of merry boys, a sociopath. That person got suspended. Elon wrote underneath, "You have committed a crime." And then community notes said, "There is no law against publishing or reporting names of individuals with a government-affiliated task force." Indeed, Leon and the boys have no problem taking all of our info and putting it on a list. We're going to take yours and put it on a list too, guys. All right, fair is fair. And that person did get suspended. I wonder if their account's back up. That's how much of a bitch Elon is. Wow, look at all this funding to SpaceX, one of Elon Musk's companies. I'm sure Musk and Trump are going to clean up this wasteful spending and not increase it, right, Rubes? No, they just said right. I added the Rubes part. 20.1 billion total award from 1,834 transactions. That's how much Leon got just for SpaceX? Wow, that's just one endeavor of wasted taxpayer money. 20 billion. I bet that's more than all the welfare all the single mothers have got since the beginning of this country. to one person. And that's the end. I hope everyone has a wonderful evening. I've been on way too long. Have faith, be strong, and when Donnie comes to you to give you that gift, just say no. Trust me. What you lose here will be nothing in comparison to what you will lose if you take that gift. Don't take it. Until the next episode.